Exercise 2. In this exercise, we're going to complete these 4 columns. Here we have a number of bookings made by guests who are attending the International Commodities Fair and staying in the Yiwu Sky Hotel. So each row represents one booking. We're going to enter the formulas here on the first row, and we're just going to copy it to the remaining rows. So let's try to understand our data. First, we need to calculate the room nights. Room nights means the number of nights multiplied by the number of rooms booked by this guest. So you can see that this guest booked 2 rooms and arriving on October 20th and departing on October 24th. So I type equal sign here. So first, let's calculate the number of nights that this guest is staying. We can just do departure date, G5, minus arrival date. So G5 minus F5. Now, if I press enter right now, you'll see that the answer is 4. So this guest is staying for 4 nights. Now, we said earlier the formula for room nights is the number of nights multiplied by the number of rooms. So we're not done yet. So we need to multiply the answer to this formula with the number of rooms. Now, at this point, we want the multiplication to be done on the result of G5 minus F5. But subtraction has a lower priority than multiplication. So to make sure that the subtraction happens before the multiplication, we need to put this in parentheses. Okay, and that way we can control the order. We want the subtraction to happen first, and then the result will be multiplied. Okay, the multiplication symbol is shift 8 on the keyboard, multiplied by the number of rooms, which is in D5. So G5 minus F5 first, and then the result multiplied by D5. Press enter. So the total room nights for this booking is 8. And we can just copy this to the other rows, and you know how to do that already. Next, we want the booking pace. Booking pace means how far ahead of the arrival date does the guest book this hotel room. So the booking pace is going to be the arrival date minus the booking date. So you'll see that for this particular booking, it was made 198 days before the guest was actually going to come to the hotel. Okay, and now we want to calculate the length of stay. Length of stay is simply how many nights the guest stayed. So that's equal departure date, G5, minus arrival date, F5. Now, for K5, we want the arrival day. That means we want to know the weekday. What day of the week is this guest arriving? Now, we're going to use a function called weekday. Okay, so weekday will return a number from 1 to 7, identifying the day of the week of a date. So, open parenthesis. So, it just takes this argument, which is the arrival date. And the second argument is optional. We don't need to provide that. Close parenthesis. Okay. Now we're going to calculate the weekday on which this guest will arrive and the weekday on which this guest will check out. We do know the date, but we want to know, is this a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and so on. So we're going to use a function called weekday. Okay, weekday, and it takes as its argument the date that you want to determine which day of the week it is. So the weekday of F5. Now there's a second argument, but it's optional, so we can skip that. So weekday of October 20th, 2015, okay, it shows us that it's a number 3 because it returns a number from 1 to 7. Now, we're not sure if 3 is a Wednesday or if it's a Tuesday, depending on whether 1 is Sunday or Monday. We're not sure. So actually showing 3 here is not very clear, but we'll get back to that in a while. But for the departure date, it's going to be weekday. Departure date, close parenthesis. Okay, so we have arrival weekday is 3 and departure weekday is 7, but we're not sure what this means exactly. So we can format this because right now they're numbers. We can go to more number formats. Okay. And over here, we can choose custom. Okay, and under custom, there's a format called DDD, which means 3 letters representing the weekday. Now, if you don't see DDD, you can actually type DDD here in lowercase, and you'll see now that 3 actually stands for Tuesday. Okay, click OK. So now, since we've formatted these two as DDD, the number 3 represents Tuesday, and the number 7 represents Saturday, which means number 1 is Sunday. Now that we have all our formulas, we can just copy this to the remaining rows, and we don't need to have absolute references in any of them. So we can just, I'll select all these, and then I'm going to point to this square on the lower right hand corner, and I'm just gonna drag it downwards. And we are done with exercise 2.